This is Robbie Illuminati, the motherfucking op killer, and your eyes, ears, mind, body, and soul are checking out the 3 Count Podcast.
Hit him with a 3 count. Pin him to the ground and the crowd go wild, man down, know what y'all like. Hit him with a 3 count. On the top row, crowd already know how I fly him to the flow like. Hit him with a 3 count. And your boy real
I know, we totally haven't done this in a while because welcome everybody to this great edition on Sunday. You know what it is. It is the 3 Count Podcast debate show. And it seems to be like, Chaz just ducks us left, right, and center. And it's the thing that he likes to do most, but it is what it is. Welcome to our show. We are here. It is your man, the boy, the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest of all time. I don't know any other verbs or adverbs I can add to this, but it is Clifford Red Dog Miller here with the debate show, and we are going down our roster. Let's welcome everybody in. So you see him down below. He's kind of half seen, half there, half man, half amazing. He's the one who gets paid because, even Jesus owes him money. Give it up for the Darklord himself, Damien Fatal.
I will collect what I owe, as always. Just remember that.
And, of course, as always, you can see him. He's right next to me in the bandana of camouflage. He is the man who just destroys racist bears and bears who are racist. Give it up for the man himself, Chris Idol.
Always happy to be here.
Always happy to be here. It's cool. We ain't going to put out business. So,
Hold on. Actually, I'm kind of curious about the racist bears. Actually, got a question about that, sir.
Okay, I hopefully I have an answer.
So, when was the last time you encountered a racist bear, and was it Yogi? Suspect about Yogi.
Just sitting out there like, hey, boo boo, you see that man over there? We're gonna go get him.
Well, we never did see Yogi with any bears darker than him, so.
Yeah. See, suspect.
Man, let's just be real, okay? Yogi didn't care about nobody. I've never seen him with Smokey the Bear either, okay? So we just be honest.
No, it's true.
You ever seen Coca-Cola Bear? It wasn't a thing. He said, Yogi, polar bears, I ain't trying to hang out with any of them. He's like, they are not as smart as me.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true.
Oh, man. But all right, we have a bunch of debate topics. But first, we got to get into our announcements, guys. So check it out. Now Ring always has interviews coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think even this week we have a special one coming out on Wednesdays. And actually, this might be the week that we have. Oh, no, that's going to be in July. You got a special one coming out in July. Just know we have a bunch of interviews that are getting ready to drop. Also, you guys can cop our merch. You guys see it's right there, right underneath me. I don't know. We'll put it like that. Right there. And there's actually another one. You go to ProWrestlingTees.com/3 Count Podcast, and you guys can check us out and get our merch. Also, you can get my t-shirts right there. You can find those at whatamaneuver.net, as well as you can find Pure Ignorance as well on whatamaneuver.net, so you guys can pick up our stuff there. Also, we got affiliates now, and Chaz wasn't here for this when I got to make this announcement, but you guys will be the first ones to get to hear it. So you guys can actually go to our linktree.com/3 Count Pod, and you can actually check it out. We are now affiliated with the Coldest Water. So if you guys want to go through, click the link, and you guys can get a small percentage off at the Coldest Water. So check us out there, as well as Ray's energy drink. So make sure you go check us out there. That's right. We are selling out because you know what? We want to make money too doing this podcast, and we don't want to work our normal jobs. It is.
That is true. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. Some of us don't want to.
Yeah, I'm all about the sell out.
Some of us, yeah, I'm all about the money. Let's go. It is what it is at this point, man. It is what it is.
No, it is. No, it is. It is.
So, with that being said, though, we do have some debate topics for you guys. So get ready to check us out. I got to pull up the first one because, sometimes the photos just go away and I don't care for it. So let's get into our first debate topic. Originally, Chaz wanted us to talk about whether wrestling was making its way back to the mainstream. I said, we didn't have any of that. We're going to talk about what happened last night on AEW after the show. Eddie Kingston shot a promo. This was after Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega had their match, in which Eddie Kingston referred to WWE as the competitors and that they don't have the passion, nor do they care about their fans. So the debate topic today is he right? And we'll start with the Idol.
Okay, I think he's wrong about the wrestlers having passion. I think there are plenty of people in the WWE right now that have plenty of passion for what they do. Off the top of my head, two of the top guys, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, I think are two great examples of that. If you watch Talking Smack, you see it every week. How passionate the guys are. There's plenty of people that have passion. And watch NXT on Tuesday, you see plenty of passion on that show. So I think there's plenty of passion. Now, does WWE care about their fans? I think they do. Just maybe not all of them. I know. I think they care about the fans that watch the show, that always watch the show. But I don't know. It's like the people that complain about their show are the people that typically don't watch the show.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
So I feel like they don't care about those people. Just like, does that make sense, Cliff? Like where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I kind of feel like WWE is kind of like, if you're not spending money on our product, we don't really care what you have to say. Like,
yeah, right. So they're just like, all right, you can say, oh man, WWE doesn't care about the fans, and it's like the fans that feel that way, I feel like are typically the fans that are anti WWE anyway, in a little bit. So it's like, why would they care about you if you don't like their show? Why are they going to make a show to impress you?
yeah.
They can make a show that the people that already watch are going to continue to watch. I think it's like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think like if you look at shows like on Tuesday with like NXT, you see guys like Carmelo Hayes, or you guys see guys like Ari Sterling, Alexander Zane, for those of you who really just want to talk about the indie scene, and Christian Casanova, if you guys want to talk about how it looks on the Christian. But I think those guys, like the cruiserweight division, I feel like is a great division at WWE. Like I really do, hands down. I think they show like they have a lot of passion because they really sell into the matches and they make you believe that you want to be a part of that. Now, as far as like some of the guys on the upper echelon, right? Yeah. Maybe sometimes you could tell that they're phoning it in. They're just kind of like, I'm just here. I'm just here so I don't get fined. And then they put on their sunglasses and refuse to take questions from reporters. But it is what it is. I mean, like, I feel like, because even Vince, there was a reports of it earlier this week that Vince McMahon has acknowledged that the product is stale, right? And that they're waiting for fans to show up so they can start giving them like new things to talk about and new people showing up or whatever. This things just to happen. They were just waiting for the fans at the end of the day. And I think to me, it's very foretelling that that they don't care right now. But I feel like there might be like a change in the wind, especially with what happened on Raw this last week, where I actually genuinely thought Raw was a good show. Like I thought Hell in a Cell was okay. I thought Raw was actually, the wrestling aspect of Raw was a really good show. The rest of it I could just like gone away from. And then NXT, of course, always brings the fire. So I think, man, like I think WWE shows in spurts that they care about their fans, but of course, then fans will bitch and want to get a fired because they don't know anything about the product.
Right.
What about you, Damien?
All right, so like I said, see, that's kind of like that fine line, like you both said. Like, yeah, they might not care about all the fans, care about like their hardcore fans. That's going to support the product regardless, and then their investors too as well. Can't forget that important aspect of the situation. The investors kind of come first, unfortunately. if they don't have the money, they can't, make the product, so to speak. So I don't know. I'm a dick. I say fuck the fans and continue to do what they do. If you want to keep it real, make that money, man. I got you, my dude.
Well, honestly, Damon, you bring up a really good point that I think a lot of people forget. Like, okay, so AEW, right? They make their money from the fans. Like, that's where all of their money comes from. Because they have to make their audience happy, regardless, right?
Right.
WWE's money doesn't come from the fans anymore. Like, a small portion of it, but most of their money comes from the network.
Yeah,
And like all the other shit that they do.
So like,
yeah.
So like the people, so like me and you buy a ticket to go to their show. That's a small portion of the money that company makes.
Exactly.
Like you said, it's the network and the investors that they have to make happy, because that's where 90% of the money comes from. Whereas AEW or like Ring of Honor or Impact, their money comes from the fans. If the fans aren't paying, they're not making money. So that I think a lot of people forget about that too.
Yeah, well,
and they do.
When you have close to $4 billion invested from 3 deals, yeah, you might want to care about what those people say, but then you got to understand too, like, people won't watch your product. Like, we've kind of noticed that the decline of WWE, like, in their viewerships, right? Like, it's something to bring up, but it's also it's important, but it's not important, right? We got to put it out there. Is that the decline of viewerships? Like, you're not bringing in that money, right? And if you're not bringing in the money, if you're not bringing in the viewers, then advertisers aren't going to pay. So you're not making that money back. Like, WWE could low-key be like, hey, yo, Fox, you already gave us the $1 billion. Fuck off for now. Like, we'll see you. We'll renegotiate this deal in 4 years. But I think
facts, they could.
I think ultimately what it is, though, is that you're seeing that people like NBC, people like Fox, people like Saudi Arabia are like investing all this money into the product. But if you don't have people who are watching the product back and you're declining viewerships, like, eventually you're gonna have to make the viewers happy and like help get those guys like get their mony back. Otherwise, NBC or Fox is just gonna be like, hey, you know what? We don't need you guys.
But they kind of do that if you really think about it.
Well, here's the flip side of that, though. So even with Raw's extremely declining ratings, it's still by far the most watched show on USA.
Got a point.
Like, that's another thing. So like, even with the rapid decline, they're so far ahead of everything else that USA's got. That it's like, even though it's not, it's still
popular as it was before.
Yeah, even though it's nowhere near as popular as it was before, it's still so far ahead of everything else on the network that it's almost like there's no real motivation to necessarily make it better.
Yeah.
The lack there of competition when it comes down to it.
It's like, so like, if Raw only got 1 million viewers, but let's say the average USA show gets like 300,000, that's still that's still great.
Yeah, that is interesting to that network because look at SmackDown, right? What SmackDown brings in like 2.4, 2.5 million, and they're next to the NFL. They're probably the highest rated thing on.
No, okay, there you go.
And it's a weird thing to think that like you are so far ahead of the rest of the competition, like weekly, that you pretty much just command your price. And it's just a weird thing to think. Like, WWE is like, hey, yeah, we know we only average 1.7 million viewers, but if you look at Psyched, it only averaged 700,000. So we're still 1 million above that. Even on their season finale, they're not doing as great as us. Like, you're like,
it's
that's
like
shitty to say.
But it's like, okay, so like, what is the company's motive to really make real change with like Raw. Why? Like, like where's the motivation other than like
especially with
us
no
fans
fans.
online? Yeah, especially with us fans. It's just us fans online are saying, "Oh, the show is crap," but you're getting paid an astronomical amount to make the show.
All
The
right,
show, even when
let me
it's
read
on
this
the
in from a
decline.
fan. So
Okay.
Rich says the problem is that there's a lot of older wrestlers and are still getting a lot of main event matches, while many of the younger NXTers who move to WWE never or very seldom get their opportunities, i.e., Rude, Dillinger, Ricochet, Lee, Black, Joe, Nakamura, Baszler should be or should have been more in the spotlight. Zayn, Cesaro should have title runs, but when you still have Lashley, Orton, and Sheamus, etc., and no talents like Corbin be getting runs, they continue to become stale. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna put this out there. Corbin is the best heel
Right.
on WWE next to Randy Orton. Like on SmackDown, he is the best heel. Like there's just no.
Oh yeah, he's the heel.
Yeah,
He is
there's no
the
looks
heel.
around it. Next, well, actually,
If
let
you
me
want
back this
somebody
up.
to get nuclear heat, that's him.
I was like, let me back this up. Next to Roman Reigns on SmackDown, he's the best heel. And then I think from there it's like Zayn and then probably Apollo Crews. Like those four all together. Like, but there's another name right there, Apollo Crews, right? He's going to come up. He's making to come up, right? You see people like you see Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's starting to get his rock back on. Seth Rollins is still there, like holding steady. There's a lot of people in there that make the product interesting to watch on the SmackDown side. On Raw side, I mean, it is.
There's a lot of good talent there, but it's stale as fuck.
Yeah, it is. It's
like,
Bobby. Like that's it.
Okay, but see, all right. So this at the end of the day, right? This is how I feel about it. And this goes, if you really think about it, this is kind of like how it is in wrestling in general. When you have your mainstays, when you have your veterans, they're always 90% of the time are at the top of the card. They're the ones that are getting the shot. That's just the way that wrestling is. You go to your go-to guy. You go to your solid guy, the guy that you know is going to get the motherfucking job done and put asses in seats, like it or not. So all the fans out there that is bitching about it, do your homework on wrestling and realize that this is the way that it's been. Period. It's even like that in Planned Parenthood. Like it or not. Like it or not. It don't matter if they did put a curtain jerk on at the main event. The people that are watching are caring about the stars.
Yeah, and ultimately,
that's why they tune in.
I think too, WWE has established who their stars are on the show, right? Like we've seen it with Bobby and Drew, Sheamus to an extent, you know, like you're seeing the guys who WWE are trying to push into that next level and say, these are our stars. Pay attention to these guys. The problem is going to be is when the fans come back in July, will they accept those stars? Now we saw at WrestleMania that obviously Roman being a heel, I got what I wanted because, you know, I really thought that fans were going to cheer Roman Reigns when he showed up, and very rarely they did not. They booed him because they know he's a heel. And I was like, all right, I'm grateful.
And that's a good point, Cliff, actually, about like this whole pandemic era for WWE. They have no barometer other than social media of what is or isn't working. And just because social media hates something doesn't necessarily mean that the masses.
That it's garbage. Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. We've seen like big reactions to stuff that happened on like Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-view that people would like shit all over on social media. Yeah. So it's really weird. So you just like they have no barometer. If you throw Ricochet out there, they could do a bunch with Ricochet, and then they hit the road. What their first show on the road is Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So they're doing all this with Ricochet, right? And Ricochet's entrance can hit at Money in the Bank, and the crowd can be dead fucking quiet.
Yep. Real quick.
We hope that's not the case, obviously, but we don't really they don't really know what isn't catching on. because
At this point, I think all these companies are just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what
yeah,
the fuck sticks.
right.
But
If you really think about it.
to be fair, though, something that Eddie Kingston did say, we'll wrap this back all the way back around to what we were trying to full circle. Something that Eddie Kingston said is that AEW does listen to fans, and that's pretty apparent because remember when Matt Hardy first got into, he was bringing Broken Matt Hardy, and the fans were kind of like, "We like it, but we really just want you. We don't want Broken Matt Hardy." And so he kind of listened. AEW made the adjustment, and they switched. Right? It's been the same way with everything else that's gone on through just wrestling in period. Like they've managed to swerve and bring back like what they kind of wanted, and we'll see. And they keep reacting to how the fans react, right? They're paying attention to those metrics, and it kind of shows. It kind of shows like in their ratings that like we genuinely are listening to you guys, and that's why our ratings haven't tanked completely. Because I think their last show on Friday last week only drew like 400,000 people, but that's still a lot of people to be watching wrestling on a Friday night at 10 o'clock at night. And you're talking about they're still paying attention. Like that's your diehard fans though, like listening. But
exactly,
AEW is paying attention to their fans. That's the cool. That's what's cool. Where WWE is like, all right, so it really didn't work out with Drew, so we'll put Bobby in the spot, and hopefully we'll get a big reaction out of it. And we'll just pay attention to social media and hope it works. And then you broke up the Hurt Business a week before that whole match, and you saw how the fans turned. They were like, "Come on, man, we want that."
Yeah. So it's very, it's weird. Yeah.
But see, I think I see that at the same time. It's a story I get. Oh God, I get. All right, I didn't want them to break up the Hurt Business, but I get why. Lashley looks more dominant by himself with MVP in his corner.
Right.
He doesn't look. I feel like having all those people will make him look somewhat weak. And he's too big. Excuse my language. Not excuse my language. He is too big of a nigga to be having little cronies watching his back like that. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. It sucks that it had to happen, but I get it. And like by himself, that man's been on a tear.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. It sucks, but I know. I kind of want to see WWE pay attention a little bit more to their fans and not get rid of people because they don't know anything about the business. We'll talk about that later. You guys will hear it, so don't worry.
All right.
So let's talk about this other subject. We're gonna move on because we talk about Eddie Kingston if he's right or not, but we gotta talk about Kenice Mobley, Everrise, Austin Gray, Tyler Breeze, Fandango, Killer Dane, Arya Davari, Tony Nee, the Bollywood Boys. We gotta talk about Toro Ruas, Kurt Stallion, Marina Shafir, and Tino Sabantelli, or otherwise the people who got cut this week from WWE. So, all right. So, Chris, we kind of talked about this the other day, and you kind of brought up a good point. It's genuinely people you're really not going to care about.
Unfortunately, he's right.
And I'm like, it sucks, but these. And I feel bad for saying, there are people on there who I did enjoy, but by and large, okay, so I'm gonna use this as a parameter. So I watch all the WWE shows every week with my mom. My mom is not a hardcore wrestling fan. The extent of her wrestling knowledge is what happens on the shows. So out of that list of people that got released, my mom's not going to notice that any of them are gone. It's going to be way after the fact.
I mean, it does suck. It really does.
It does suck. It sucks badly. And that's the same thing with my wife.
Yeah, but that list is comprised of people that the mainstream folks have either never heard of, or you're gonna get that, oh, they still work there type reaction.
That's what I did.
Like if I told my mom, hey, they let go of the Singh brothers, she'd probably be like, oh, I thought they were already fired. I haven't seen them in forever.
Right?
And I know that sounds so shitty, but because they're all very talented people, and I have faith that everyone on that list will bounce back and do great.
Same.
But within the world of the WWE, those
Can't be surprised, bro.
Yeah, you can't be surprised, and they don't have tremendous impact on any of the products.
Right. I think for me what it is that we're watching all this great talent that got signed a few years ago, right, to WWE. And it's really because WWE didn't want like them going to anybody else. They just wanted them for themselves and just like hoard them. And
True.
Well, the fact are they thought AEW was going to be. They didn't know what AEW was going to be, so they took precautionary measures by hoarding talent to keep as many away from them as they could. But now they see what AEW is, and AEW, you know, the realm that it exists. It is what it is. Not talking good, bad, or indifferent, but they know what AEW is. This isn't the second coming of like WCW.
right.
This is more along the lines of Nirvana, Impact, you know, in that kind of realm. So now they're just kind of like, well, all these people we hoarded, well, we need to keep them.
Yeah, and it sucks because there's like, and this is like the third set of cuts that we've seen since WrestleMania. Well, like third or fourth cut that we've seen since WrestleMania, and there's a few people in there who've been cut because of obvious reasons. Because like one, they've like put a black eye on the company, but then there's like some talent that's in there that you're just kind of like, okay, why did you cut that person when you can utilize that person for like their knowledge, right? Someone like Mickie James, right, who obviously she's on the NWA and she's going to be doing her thing now, being a person that runs the women's tournament that's going to be happening here soon. Or the all women pay-per-view. I'm sorry, the all women pay-per-view. It's crazy to me to think that that WWE was literally hoarding this much talent. Like I think at one time we talked about it, like there was more people on the main roster than there was in all of AEW. And now like you got so much talent that you've cut so many people that like 205 I think now has only 5 active wrestlers. One of them being a producer, and that's Brian Kendrick. Like everybody else is just there. And so of course you're gonna have this new focus on NXT in the cruiserweight division, which is what we saw. But it's just, to me, it's just another level of like, Jesus, bro, like how much talent did you really need on your roster when you're not even going to showcase everybody? You're just kind of like, hey, here and there, spurts of people. It's crazy to me to think about.
Right.
It is.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, it sucks. It does. And especially now with them going back on the road, like they're thinking of road expenses.
Yeah.
You know, some of these talent you gotta fly out and pay for hotels, and then there's gonna be talent that you're literally paying to stay at home because you have no plans to use them on the road.
Right.
You have no plans to use them at all. Why not let them go?
Yeah, I think the other part too is crazy too. Is like you make a good point, right? So you have these road expenses that you got to pay for. So you obviously got to get rid of talent because they're not doing it. You're not using them for anything. So you got to get rid of those guys. And then like the other people that like you have your Austin Grays, right? A guy that you legit just last year. You really haven't utilized him on TV, so you just cut them, right? And in 30 days, we'll see him back on the indie scene. But then you have another dude, Savantelli, who you legitimately let go so that he could go to AEW and snitch, and then you signed him back only to cut him like 5 months later. Like, some of that shit that happens, man, it's just wild to me. Like the things that you're gonna go through and do. So I don't know, man. It's just weird that WWE hoards so much talent and then just get rid of them out of a whim.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Though that happens in everyday life, though, right?
Yeah, I mean it does.
Especially in Maryland,
Yeah, especially in Maryland.
at Will State.
Yeah, yeah, but
So, like,
a few of us have now seen what those cuts look like.
yeah, true. That is true.
I'll be front. I know what it's like. I know it's like to be a person who is just like, hey, you know what? By the way, quote unquote budget cut is what we're doing, and we're getting rid of you guys.
I've had it happen to me in a previous job. So yeah, no, I know how that feels. It's like, yeah, we're gonna keep these guys, but you guys gotta go. Have a good one, though.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, at least, well, you know what is funny is that my company essentially did exactly what WWE did. They gave me a 90-day well, it's not a no compete clause. It was just a 90-day like, hey, here's your severance package. Go away. They cut me. They cut me, man. I had no choice. Oh man. But Damien, how are you feeling about the cuts for WWE?
So, all right, yeah, all right. So I'm gonna be the realist on this one, right? When it comes down to it, like you said, they hoarded way too much talent. So, like at the end of the day, like, it's about the bottom dollar, bro. It's about the bottom dollar. If you got people just sitting there not contributing, and you can't figure out how they can contribute, then why keep them? At the end of the day, like why?
Yeah.
Why waste the money? Why waste the time? Why waste their time? At the end of the day, let them go and do them.
All right, get Carter's computer. Put it.
Yeah,
So,
it is some trash. It really is.
All right.
So I mean, it sucks. It sucks that business has to be so harsh. But at the end of the day, dude, wrestling's a business.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, do we get mad when like Pepsi gets rid of like one of their drivers?
No.
Exactly.
We don't get mad at Pepsi for getting rid, but we do get mad at the NFL teams whenever they cut one of our favorite players.
Exactly. So it's like, no offense, but like, you know, the Pepsi driver, his job is just as important as the football player. Without that driver, we get no damn Pepsi.
I genuinely want to see somebody get upset. Like, I want to know that person. I got to see it now. I got to see that person who gets upset and be like, hey, man, did you see Bob got let go? I'm like, wait, Bob? Like, yeah, that's my favorite dude. Like, I want to know. Yo, like, actually, you know what? Hey, man, did you know, you remember Chris? Yeah. He was in the bread aisle. Yeah, they cut him. What?
What are you talking about? Yo, hard work.
Well, like, why would they let him go? That makes no sense. Who are they gonna have fill that position? Jim? He's terrible.
See, exactly. Exactly. That shit happened at my old job. Like, legitly happened at my old job. Store manager we had was like kind of crap, but like he was leaving, so I think he just was like, "Yeah, I'm done." And then we got a worse GM.
Oh no.
And then she ended up fucking up the whole entire store. The store was closing at like 10 o'clock for like a week because both overnight supervisors quit. Damn. And then she took a leave of absence.
Oh no. No bueno.
Yeah. So, like I said, it happens. It happens all the time, B. It is what it is. I have faith, just like you know, Mr. Idol said, that those guys will bounce back. They're all talented individuals.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that they're gonna bounce back and that they're gonna do great things. It's just, to me, it's just maddening that you were able to hoard almost 200 wrestlers, like 200 top wrestlers, and then just be like, you know what? Yeah, we don't need you. We don't need you, and we're gonna get rid of you. Bye.
Yeah, no, that is kind of crappy. But then at the same time, it's like, well, now we're giving you what you wanted.
And that's the
Go off and do
crazy
what you
part
feel like you
about
needed.
that's the crazy part about WWE is that they're like, yeah, we know we're gonna give you guys what you want, and we're gonna bring shows to you guys, but then we're also gonna cut all the fat of all the people that we're not using. So we listen to our crowds. I think that's where it goes into. It's pretty much like, hey, we're listening to the fans. We're gonna let these talents go so they can make a name somewhere else. That's what it is. That's okay. You know what? That's what pisses me off about this whole thing. It's like, hey, what do you mean? We listened to you guys. We did what you said. We cut them, okay?
We didn't do it when you asked, but we did it.
You are the authority. You make it. That's
If
what
you
it
want to
is.
blame anybody, blame yourselves.
Yeah. We didn't mess it up. You did. It was your fault. The reason why the booking happened the way they did. That's what it is. That's what gets me irritated about the show now. Now we're getting to the heart of it. Now we get it's not the talent. It's the fact that WWE says they listen and then they do some shitty things to us. That's what it is.
It's
I totally get it.
it's like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Keep doing that. You know
It
it's bad
really
for you.
is. It really is.
You know
We're
there's
just
it's no
hoes,
good.
man. That's all it is. We're just hoes. We legitimately we have, and the crazy part is right is it's like Stockholm syndrome, right? So like we get beat down and then we continue to go back.
We do. It's
Yeah.
like we're like glutton
Hey, did you
for
see what happened on
punishment. That's
Raw
the
last
recipe,
week?
right?
Oh man. Give me all right. So for you guys, some of you guys who are just not paying attention or checking us out, we are back live on on Facebook. We know we had some difficulties, so now we're back up. You guys can catch us on Facebook, and that's where we're at for the meantime. Between time, maybe we'll even go to YouTube at some point. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I genuinely wanted to pop on and just let people know, like, hey, we're back up on Facebook. So anyway, yeah, it's crazy to think that we as fans we legit just want to go back and watch more of the product. And we're like, but you let go so many other talented individuals, and now you're like, hey, we listened to you guys. Check out what we did, and we're like, what? You didn't even use them on your product. Like, can you name me your favorite August Gray match?
I have no idea. Hold on. Who does that get? Hold on. Oh, do I know who he is?
Anthony.
Oh yeah,
Green.
I do know who he is.
Yeah.
Shit. No. I ain't gonna lie. It's been a bop since I really paid attention. Hold on. Do I know who August Green is? What does he look like?
Long curly hair. White. Really, really talented.
No, really. What does he look like?
I'm not gonna say he's very talented.
Anybody tell me?
Hold on. I'm gonna read this out from a fan though. So Mr. Richard says, my point is, who would most fans rather see in a title now? Some 40-something or a younger talented wrestler? They have their chance with Cesaro and Zayn. Now it's too late because they're too old.
Okay, I take private offense to that.
I was like, yeah.
Hold on. No. Oh no. I am 41 years old. And I can go with any 19-year-old, 17-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever, and work them under the table. How dare you, sir? Very offended.
I mean, right now, if the fan base is calling for someone like Drew or Bobby or Roman to be in the title, like, hey man, that's what's drawing right now. Like, fans are so fickle about who they want to see in the title pictures, right? Because we see Goldberg come back, and then Goldberg's ratings go like take SmackDown like through the roof, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, Goldberg, put the title on him. Who cares who has it? Like, how many times did somebody drop the title to Goldberg so that he could carry it to WrestleMania?
Twice in like a few years that I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, and fans wanted to see it, and then fans got mad when it happened, and then they were like, well, you wanted to see Goldberg back on the show. And I get it too, right? Because sometimes it's fans want to see nostalgia acts come back. They don't care if they go for championships. Like, to be real, I kind of agree with some fans, but are like, I don't really want to see John Cena go for the title at SummerSlam, but I do want to see John Cena back. Like, put him in a marquee matchup, but it doesn't have to be for the title. And I understand that he draws ratings, but at the same time, like, use him to give the shine to somebody else. That way, that person can carry the torch on, right? So I feel like, as much as I want to be like, yeah, let me get Roman versus Cena, like, I don't really want to see it. I really just want to see, like, like Cena and Cesaro, or maybe, maybe Rollins and Cena, and then you can give me Edge and Roman, or something to that effect. I just think right now I'm not with Cena and Roman going for the title. You know what I mean?
I can see that. I mean, it doesn't have to happen off the break. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like that could be something that's like drawn out a little bit. But I mean, again, like you said, it's gonna put ashes in.
Yeah. It is true.
As much as people might not want to think of and or hate on it, it's like at the end of the day, though, how those buy rates and ticket sales, how were they? Oh, they were all right. People still came. All right, we good now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. But, you guys keep writing your comments in. We'll keep trying to read them out, and let us know what you guys are thinking. We're going to move on to our next section. I love this section. It's one of my new favorite ones. We call it Temp Check. So we can either talk about a wrestler that's either going hot or even a wrestler who's gone cold. But we're going to pick out a wrestler who we think is either on the up and up or is just cooling off. So let us start this off with Damien. I need your temp check, man. Give me a wrestler that you like or you don't like.
The whole entire Planned Parenthood roster. Yeah, you should have known that was coming.
You know what's crazy though?
This is going to be crazy. My reaction to this though, as much as I would like to say that they are down, they are actually slowly gaining that momentum. Like there's a lot of interesting guys. I hate to fucking admit this, that I'm actually pretty okay, somewhat reading about.
Yeah.
Like Eddie Kingston, for instance, I kind of fuck with him hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I can watch him all day long, no matter where he's at. Like I could actually stomach the highlights of them facing the Young Bucks.
Okay.
And that was only because them two were in it.
That's funny. Justin, man, who's your temp check, man? Who you got on the up and up?
Let's see. I like Eddie Kingston. Jungle Boy. Those are the two. Those are really the two that I think are really two people that aren't in that upper echelon that I think are really going to be up there really soon.
Yeah. Okay. I think for me, my temp check, man, the guy to watch out for, the one that's on the rise, is actually Carmelo Hayes. Like, I've said this a few times, his match with Adam Cole and then the match that he had with Kushida, you can kind of see the momentum is building up with him. Like they really value him at NXT. And it's not going to be long before you start seeing him really, really catch on fire for it. I think another person that I want to put out there too, that I think is gaining his momentum and just tearing it up quietly, but will really explode here soon, is actually Kyle O'Reilly. He is putting on some banger matches, and I say I know he came off with that big move with Adam Cole, and then he was obviously in the 5-way. But I just feel man, they're really hey, we're gonna keep the bubbling. But he's getting some big wins. He just got the big win over Kushida, this last Tuesday. I'm genuinely interested to see where they go with him. I was man, he could be a nightmare for people. Like, and I think WWE
No, he could.
WWE is really putting a lot of weight behind him. And I got to be honest, another group of people who are actually catching my temp, Hit Row. Like,
I do like them. They're actually very entertaining group.
I really like him. Actually, we got Richard says Matt Riddle is on his temp check for people that are on the up and up. To be fair, the other person I think too, kind of cooling off a little bit, is actually Drew McIntyre.
I kind of feel that too, especially after his loss to Lashley.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, and then the loss to Riddle right afterward.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Drew's entire run as a top guy was in front of nobody.
Yeah.
So he really got his fair shake.
Yeah.
I hope this is their way of like cooling him off to reheat him up in front of people. But
it's tough. And I think if I had to on the women's side, as far as person, like, I think that might be heating up. I'm gonna be real. People are gonna make fun of me about this, but in a few years we're gonna be like, what happened? Nikki Cross, man. Let's be real. This gimmick, this superhero gimmick, and she got like the big thumbs up from Shane Helms and Molly Holly. They're all like talking about how she's gonna be like that next big. I'm gonna be honest, man. When I saw her do the promo, I was like, I have no idea what we're talking about. And I saw her as a superhero, I was like, I don't like it. And then she wrestled, I was like, I like it. So very much.
That's kind of what happened to me too. It was like I was like, oh, poor Nikki. And then like I actually saw it, I was like, okay, I can fuck with this.
Yeah. Yo, when she got up on
I'm down.
Rope and she did the pose, I was
right?
like, yo, let's go. I was like, I'm very much a fan
of it. Yeah, we're like all for it.
Yep. All right, so moving from temp check, we're gonna get into the hot debate topic. This is gonna be simple, man. So as we saw, Kenise Mobley did an interview on Asian Not Asian podcast where she talked about she got brought in to write for the WWE, but she had no idea about wrestling. She didn't even know the champ. She thought his name was Bobby Lashley. But then she also knew that they were a part of a group called The Hurt Business and that they were really mean guys who wore really nice suits. So essentially, when this podcast came out, fans erupted. To say the least, fans were pissed. And what ends up happening is a lot of fans threw a lot of hate, a lot of shade, and pretty much buried her to the point where WWE was like, hey, we listened to our fans, we got rid of her. But she wasn't brought in to write storylines. She was brought in to write jokes because that's what she does. She has a production. She has like a production background, but she also has comedic writing. She has a lot of great. If you guys go through her IMDb, you're gonna see all the shows that she writes for. But it brings the question: do you really need to have product knowledge to work for the WWE? And I'll start this off. I'll start this off with Idol because I know like you and I who had this back and forth.
All right, so here's my thoughts on this. Okay, do you need product knowledge to get the job? I don't think so, but I feel as though it's on that person that once they get the job, they need to educate themselves because they have access to all of the resources. They've got a whole archive. They've got the books. They've got all the knowledge right there. So I think it's on those writers that once they get the job, if they don't know, they need to learn very quickly. And you shouldn't go on a podcast or any media person, if you have any job, and talk about how you know nothing about your job. Or if you're
no, that's been like me saying that, I work at Wawa, but I can't make a sandwich. But I'm a manager.
I'm the owner supervisor at Wawa, but I have no clue how any of these things in the store work. Because I've never
Not a damn clue.
stopped at Wawa. You know what I mean? But so it's like, it's okay if she didn't know, but she should not be so open and okay about her ignorance. Like, it would have been one thing if she said, I had no clue when I got the job, but as soon as I got it, I started watching the shows. I started trying to learn everything that I could. I got the WWE encyclopedia, something that made it sound like, oh, I didn't know, but now I'm trying to know because I have
Exactly, because she made fucking idiot.
But to be fair,
yeah.
To be fair, right? We don't even know how long she was hired to the company for. She could have got hired to the company. Like, let's be real. She could have got hired like the Monday before, right? Getting ready to fight this Monday. And then she did an interview like that Tuesday for Asian Not Asian podcast. And then the next day, WWE was like, hey, you know what, bro? We didn't approve that podcast. We got to let you go. But we're going to listen to our fans. That's why we're going to let you go. Yeah,
okay,
so let him go that Friday.
Basically,
that's kind of shitty.
So from what I heard, I did look into it a little bit. She had her job for about 2 weeks. Now here we go. Now, what writer do you know that's hopping on podcasts and talking about this kind of stuff?
Right.
I feel like she should have asked if it was okay.
Yeah, you would have thought that would have been a thing.
No. Okay, but to be fair, they probably told her, hey, you're an independent contractor, which means that we only pay you for the shows you write on, which then tells her, as an independent contractor, she can go and do other things. She probably didn't. Let's be real. We don't read the terms of service agreements to any of the shit that we do. I'm pretty sure she went through and just signed that shit and was like, all right.
Okay, here's the reason.
When I first got my first cell phone.
Sure. All right, so the reason I say that is because legitimately, we have never heard any current writer that works for WWE ever do an interview ever about their job. Never.
That is true, though.
Always after they're gone, when they talk about the things that they did or wrote about or shit like that. We've never. Never.
Yeah, he's right though.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard a current writer for the company.
Yeah, current Raw writer Bob, Galifianakis here doing a podcast talking about his job. This has never happened. So I just assumed that, it's like when you get the job, they tell you, hey, you can't do these things.
Look, maybe they had a one-day introduction course, and she was late getting back to where they're like, "Hey, you not to do any media," and then she went and did media.
Probably went to the bathroom.
Because it's very unusual. Like I said, this has never happened. We have never had a writer hop on a podcast and talk about their job in the current context. Like, I'm actively there. It's always after they're gone.
But this was 2 weeks. Like, you mean to tell me that in the 2 weeks that she's there, right? You can't have a sit down with her and be like, hey, listen, it's cool. You decided to go do that, but don't do that again. And as of right now, you're currently on suspension, right? As they always do. You're on suspension until we can approve of certain podcasts.
So, all right. So I think, yes, they were pissy about what she said. I think the reason she got fired is because it became such a big deal.
Yeah. Well, because wrestling fans, listen.
That's the reason. So, unfortunately, wrestling fans got her fired.
Yeah, they did. Toxic ass motherfuckers, man, got her fired.
Oh, yeah. So the internet
are so much worse than Star Wars fans, man.
You complain why wrestlers get let go and people get fired. It's y'all fault. Yeah. Just remember that. Y'all to blame.
The interview didn't get her fired. The interview probably got her in trouble. But that's not what got her fired. What got her fired is the big fucking stink that everybody made about her interview.
And I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did on the 3 Count podcast, right, on our TikTok page. But like on the TikTok page, I was like, yo, she was brought in and I was like, and she doesn't know anything about the product. Oh, well, that's no big deal, bro. Like, she can learn about the product as she goes along, but she's there to make jokes for Byron and Corey Graves, right? Because let's be real, those guys, they try, but they're not that good, right? And with Vince liking a certain type of humor, they probably found like the right person to write those jokes. She did this interview, the fans blew up, and then guess what? as toxic fans as we were like, get her off the show. We're not gonna watch. And WWE was like, bro, she didn't even write storylines. Like,
right?
Yeah,
This is a
doesn't
joke,
write
writer.
anything you care about. Like,
no, WWE is hiring people to write for this show that don't know shit about their job. She can't
Right.
even tell us who the champion is. And I'm just like, oh my God, I know. It's like she gave such a bad energy. It was a terrible energy. But like I said, I don't believe they got her fired because they could have pulled. I believe they did pull her to the side and be like, girl, that was terrible. You can't talk like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Like, she didn't even have a chance to fix it because everybody and their mama jumped on her case.
I know, and you're talking about a huge fan base of wrestling fans that just legitimately buried her. And I was like, come on, man. Like, WWE finally did something that we could legitimately enjoy, and we have no idea what was going to happen in the future. And her jokes could have made the product so much more better. But we decided, nah, we don't want to listen to her because she doesn't know anything about wrestling. Like, fuck off, man. We're so much worse than Star Wars fans. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like,
no, we are. No, we're way more petty.
Yeah, we're super petty. And it's like, it is so weird that WWE was like, oh man, we gotta listen to this fan base, otherwise they're gonna stop watching our get rid of her. Get rid of her. I was like, and here's like the part that really gets me, right? That it wasn't only just the fact that they got rid of her. They got rid of this young, talented minority female off the show. Like, no fucks were given. Dudes were like, we're boycotting the show because she doesn't know anything about wrestling. Get her off our airway. Like, bro, you didn't even heard her stand-up special yet. You haven't heard anything of her comedic-wise. And you're out here bitching about it. It's like, get out of here, man. I was like, you're so bad. So bad. But
usually they are.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I was working for Kraft, bro, I didn't know how much stuff Kraft owned. Yeah, I knew mac and cheese, but I didn't know. I had to learn while I was in the job, bro. Like, it wasn't until like a year later that I found out that they actually owned corn nuts. I was like, what? And so like, a year into the business, man. That's crazy. I was like, and for like WWE is essentially like it's like a grocery store, right? Every aisle has something different in it. You're not going to learn everything about wrestling in 2 weeks. So her not knowing who the champion was, bro, like it's okay, it's egregious. It's understandable though, because she has no connection to the wrestling business and she's still learning. But the fans were like, fuck her, get her out of here. She's a bum. Like, we want wrestling, we want wrestlers, we want people who know about wrestling to write about wrestling for a show that doesn't even acknowledge itself as a wrestling show. Like, I don't understand.
And to bring up your point
entertainment.
Like, to bring up your point about your job, like, how many of us know everything about our job when we got our job? No matter what the job was. Like, it doesn't matter if you worked at Best Buy. Let's say you were a cashier at Best Buy. You're going to tell me you knew everything about Best Buy before you accepted that job? Like, get out of here.
Well, I worked for Wawa for like over a year, and I still didn't know how to do every fucking thing.
Exactly, but the fact is, it's like, okay, you don't know when you get there, but you can learn over time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she eventually got the name right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Ashley Lashley. I mean, that's how she said it. She was like, I think it was Bobby Lashley. I don't know.
Okay. I mean,
hey, look, she eventually
this is something
got it right.
I should know.
Yeah.
She did say, she was like, this is something I probably should know. And she's right. You should know that. But given that it's so vast and you're probably feeding her like a lot of knowledge in a short amount of span, like 2 weeks is not enough to digest what WWE is all about.
Oh, fuck no. As a whole, you got 3 shows. 3.
Yeah.
And
so, like, it was a bad interview.
We know that she's writing for the Raw team only.
Yeah.
We're talking about over 2,000 episodes, and I'm sure WWE probably has like a course that's just like, hey, we're gonna spend a week talking about the WWE, but you need to learn who all these people are first in the order of the chairman of the board all the way down before we ever talk about what your job is.
Right. They probably do. The corporate structure.
Right.
That thing is huge.
Exactly. And it was like, we're gonna quiz you on this later. Then she's like, all right, well, I'm gonna do this podcast really quick. We don't know. We have no idea. Bro, it's just, to me, it's baffling that fans were so pissed at this one thing that they're like, we don't want her. Get her off of here. Boycott Kenise. Like, what? Stop it.
It's just
Bunch of
because people
morons.
wanted something to be mad about.
Yeah. I was thrown off, man. When I saw people were pissed and seeing like the hashtags and stuff, I was like, come on, man. Like,
That's what I mean. They made it big enough to think about it that somebody important enough to the WWE corporate structure got informed about it. Probably some investor that was like, "What's up with this?" And then that's when they had to let her go. Like, honestly, that's what it came down to. They made a big enough
Probably.
think about it. Somebody that the higher up cared about made us think about it, where it was like, "Oh, okay, well, we got to take action."
Listen, Nick Khan went to Johnny Ace and was like, hey, we can't have him here. Oh, you're right, sir. People power. We'll get rid of her. I genuinely feel bad for Kenise because fans turned on her so quick. They had no idea who she was. I was like, get out of here, man. And granted, we've had guys like AJ Hackney and we've had Danny Joles on the show and we've talked to them and they're very well knowledge as comedians as well as wrestling fans. But it's crazy, like, to have such a fresh eye into the business and be able to write pop culture jokes and really just kind of write based on what she saw. I was like, this makes sense. But instead, fans decided to be a bunch of assholes.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
When you give people too much freedom.
Yeah, for real.
If we were in a third world country, they would have got shot.
Could you imagine what it would have been like if we were literally in a third world country, and she made that remark? Oh, bro,
right.
And I don't mean to knock any of our fans out there from third world countries, because let's be real, we are the third rock from the sun, so technically everything is a third world problem. It's just that
there you go.
This part is like anywhere else in the world, they would have been like, fans would be like, hang her. Well, maybe not that. They would get rid of her permanently. Yeah. I feel so bad for Kenise though. I was like, yo, our fan base sucks, man. Like, she had all this great stuff going on, and she's probably, and something Mark Henry said on Busted Open, she's probably making a lot more money than she has ever had. Right. But then all of a sudden, as a fan base, we were just like, fuck her. Like, she don't care about our champion. And I think that's what it was, is that people felt like she just didn't care, which wasn't the point at all. She cared. It's just, she was bringing up her point of view. And I had a problem with it. I was like,
yeah, she just wasn't knowledgeable about the product. She was being honest, maybe a little too honest. Yeah. Sometimes that can get you in trouble, though. We all know that.
But I don't think she didn't belong, because everyone starts somewhere. Doesn't mean she could have made big fame. Now we'll never know.
Now we'll never know. Maybe she could be the next Vince Russo.
Yeah, she could have.
That could mean so many different things. But
we're talking about the good parts.
Maybe the good part, the good Vince Russo.
yeah, like the earlier on Vince Russo.
Somebody's gonna clip this out and they're gonna send it to him.
Hey, Russo, you're still a piece of shit.
Like,
but I mean, you did some good shit earlier on, man. Got rid of WCW for me. Appreciate it. Oh. You the GOAT.
Oh, damn. All right, so final thoughts, man. Like, how do you guys feel about the whole situation?
She didn't need to. She didn't deserve to be fired.
She didn't deserve to be fired. That was fucked up. Seriously. Internet,
and unfortunately, because wrestling fans can be really toxic, they got her fired, and it's messed up.
Yeah, fuck the internet fans. Y'all can suck a big donkey dick. You know what? I hope y'all trip and fall down the steps. Getting that woman fired. She ain't do nothing to y'all.
Hey, you know what? Like, I'm kind of upset at the community for getting her fired and removed. It wasn't necessary. It was really shameful. And maybe I don't want you guys to fall down the step. I just want you to hit the sidewalk and skin your knee. That's it. Peter Griffin it,
Lord.
man.
Actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea because I skinned the fuck out of my knee yesterday. That shit hurt. Oh no, that shit hurt. Oh, it's been pain in the ass the past 24 hours.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I just want you to skin your knee. That's all I want you to do. Someone out there's gonna be like, I just skinned my knee, and then we're gonna get hit with a lawsuit. 3 Count Podcast wished this on me, and I'm gonna take him to court. Like, you shouldn't be walking and watching our show at the same time.
That too. That's dangerous. Yeah, if you're an idiot watching right now and walking, please be safe.
All right. So,
because if you walk in the pole, it is.
Yeah. So let's get into the best segment of the 3 Count Podcast, whether it's the debate show or even now entering the ring. That is the Red Dogs Power Rankings. And we're not doing a song. Okay. That's only Chaz's thing with the whole.
All right, please. Thank you. Right. That's totally what we're going to do.
So let's go with June 27th. We're going to talk about it's not really ours. It's mine. We're going to talk about the honorable mentions. We're going to start us off with Naomi and Asuka versus Eva Marie. And I'm not calling her Dewdrop. It is Piper Niven. I'm calling her Piper.
Oh yeah, this fool called me. This fool called me Dewdrop on Friday because I wanted popcorn. He called me Dewdrop.
Oh no, I refuse.
Yeah, I didn't get popcorn, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was looking out for you.
Yeah, okay.
So let's jump into our next honorable mention. We have Bobby Lashley versus Xavier Woods. That would have been the Hell in a Cell match on Raw, because you gotta please your networks. You can have one on SmackDown, but you better have one on Raw as well. So let's jump into our next honorable mention. It is Hit Row versus our recently released Ever Rise on NXT.
Oh
boy, that aged so well. All right, let's jump into our last honorable mention, which is going to be Io Shirai and Zoe Starks versus Aaliyah and I forget, is it Jessica Nemee? Is that her name? Jesus, I forget. She really didn't make a huge impact in the match. It was really Aaliyah just taking all the bumps.
Jessica Mea?
Is that her name? Jessica? Yeah.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea who you're talking about. It's the other dumb bitch in the group.
Yeah, I just like Aaliyah. I pay attention.
Let me stop being mean. I mean, I don't know, who is she actually?
Well, this is great. So let's jump into number 10. So number 10 is gonna be John Morrison versus Randy Orton on Raw. I did like this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. We're gonna jump into number 9 with Bayley and Seth Rollins versus Bianca Belair and Cesaro on SmackDown. Number 8 is gonna be Seth Rollins versus Cesaro at Hell in a Cell. I feel like technically this was the best match of the night, just hands down. Just gonna put it out there. Number 7, I genuinely popped for this one. I'm not gonna lie. Ricochet over AJ Styles versus AJ Styles on Raw. If you guys don't pick up on it yet, yes, I read winners to losers and on the show. We're gonna jump into number 6, and I can't wait to hear the groans for this one. This is gonna be Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy.
Oh god! Poor Jungle Boy had to go through that. I feel so bad for him.
I like Jungle Boy,
but it was such a good match.
It's because Jungle Boy was in it.
You know what? I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna put out there. Yeah. We're gonna jump into number 5, which would have been Riddle versus Drew McIntyre on Raw. This was a great match, and obviously, it deserved what it got. We're gonna jump into number 3, which actually I think technically this was another great match. It was just fun to watch two guys brawl it out. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at Hell in a Cell. Give all the loves to that one. We're gonna move into number 2, which would have been Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell. And then our number 1 match, and I got to be honest, man, because she puts it down and she is so lit. We're going to go with Bianca Belair versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell. So
Yeah.
there's your
Good
top
list.
10 for the week.
Good list. Minus that Kenny Omega match.
Yep. Fuck that nigga.
I was like, I feel like that's always gonna be a thing. Y'all just gonna be like, nah.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, if I ever meet him, punching him in the dick.
Won't
Like
feel it.
I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna shake his hand, get his autograph, and punch him in the dick when we're taking the picture.
You won't feel it.
Whisper in his ear, you know what this is for and why.
I like that. Well, shit.
Oh, this man's
That's,
gonna end up wanting to meet me. God damn it.
yep,
He's
you're
probably
gonna
gonna
see
let
it
me
too.
punch him in the dick too.
You're gonna see it. But that is our show, y'all. So you guys know what to do. You can write in the comments, like, subscribe to our channel, and then tell us about how much we are wrong. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna keep talking about how we're right. And
Oh, I'm always right. What are you talking about?
you guys don't forget, go check out our Linktree, linktree.com/3countpod. Make sure you go buy our t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com/3countpod. Follow us on IG and TikTok at the 3countpod, as well as on Twitter at 3count_pod. And yeah, so that's pretty much our show. Don't forget to go check out our affiliates. You guys know what to do. Linktree.com shows us that we have the coldest water. Go buy some of their birch right now. And then you guys know what to do. Tune in next time and be there for the next episode, and be there or just be somewhere else. What's going on, 3Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dot Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3count_pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3countpod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3Count Podcast also has merchandise. At prowrestlingtees.com/the 3countpod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.